this it. Please, just hear me out real
I
quick.
said no. And get out my face, man.
In what can only be described as a shocking and completely unforeseen turn of events, the WWE Universe was left in absolute disbelief just moments ago when a brutal and chaotic brawl erupted between none other than Jey Uso and his own brother, Jimmy Uso, backstage at Monday Night Raw. The scene was nothing short of electrifying as these two legendary wrestlers, once united as one of the most dominant tag teams in WWE history, found themselves in the middle of an all-out war. What could have possibly driven these brothers to such an intense and violent confrontation? What does this mean for their future in the WWE? Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into every jaw-dropping detail of this developing story. Tension between Jey and Jimmy Uso has been building for months now, ever since the explosive fallout from the Bloodline storyline, which saw the entire wrestling world turned upside down. Fans have been on the edge of their seats, eagerly watching as these two brothers, who once seemed inseparable, began to drift apart. But no one could have predicted that things would escalate to the point of physical violence, and certainly not backstage at Raw, where tempers flared and fists flew in a brutal brawl that had WWE officials scrambling to break it up. According to multiple sources present at the scene, it all started with a heated exchange of words. Jey, clearly frustrated with Jimmy's recent actions, confronted his brother in a way that left no room for misunderstanding. "You've betrayed me, you've betrayed the family," Jey reportedly shouted, his voice echoing through the backstage area. Tension was palpable, and anyone who witnessed the confrontation could feel that things were about to spiral out of control. Jimmy, never one to back down from a challenge, fired back with equal intensity. "Did what I had to do, Jey. You think you're the only one who cares about this family?" His words were filled with anger, frustration, and perhaps even guilt. The verbal confrontation quickly escalated when Jey, fed up with Jimmy's defiance, shoved his brother hard against the wall. The impact was loud, and for a moment, it seemed like Jimmy might back down, but that wasn't the case. Instead, Jimmy retaliated by throwing a punch that landed squarely on Jey's jaw, igniting the brutal brawl that would soon have everyone talking. Fists were flying, and both brothers showed no mercy as they unleashed their pent-up aggression on one another. The sound of their blows echoed through the backstage area, drawing the attention of every wrestler, official, and staff member within earshot. As the fight raged on, it became clear that this wasn't just a simple argument between brothers. This was a clash of two men who felt deeply betrayed, not just by each other, but by everything that had led them to this moment. Bloodline saga had torn their family apart, and now, all that anger and resentment was boiling over in the most violent way possible. "Done with you, Jimmy," Jey reportedly yelled as he landed a series of vicious punches.
"We need him," Jimmy say. In the exciting main event of SmackDown, Solo Sikoa managed to defeat Jimmy Uso, but not without some help from the Bloodline. After the match, the Bloodline continued to attack Jimmy, showing no mercy. This brutal scene led Roman Reigns to rush out to the ring to save his cousin. Roman quickly took down Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa with his powerful moves. However, things got even more intense when Roman started fighting with Solo. Just as the fight was heating up, Jacob Fatu attacked Roman from behind, changing the course of the battle. Jimmy tried his best to fight back, but he was eventually overpowered and knocked down. Solo then hit Roman with a devastating Samoan spike, leaving both Jimmy and Roman lying on the mat. In a moment of desperation, Jimmy looked at Roman and said, "We need him," referring to the importance of Jey Uso to the Bloodline fight. But will Roman Reigns' stubbornness allows him to be the bigger man and ask Jey Uso for help? But will Jey Uso help Roman and Jimmy? Let us know, guys.
"No, brother of mine." The pain in his voice was undeniable, but so was his rage. Jimmy, blooded but not backing down, fought back with just as much fury. "You've changed, Jey. Think you're better than us? Think you're better than the family?" WWE superstars, officials, and backstage personnel rushed to the scene, desperately trying to break up the fight. Jey and Jimmy were too far gone, too consumed by their emotions to listen to reason. Even some of the biggest names in WWE couldn't contain them as the fight spilled over into the locker room area, knocking over tables, chairs, and anything else that stood in their way. Chaos was unlike anything the WWE Universe had ever seen. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, WWE officials were finally able to separate the brothers, though not without difficulty. Jey, still seething with anger, had to be physically restrained by several officials, while Jimmy, blood dripping from a cut above his eye, was led away by medical staff. The scene was one of utter carnage, and it was clear to everyone involved that things would never be the same between these two brothers. The fallout from this brutal backstage brawl is sure to have massive implications for the future of both Jey and Jimmy Uso in WWE. Will they be able to reconcile after such a violent confrontation? Or is this the beginning of a long and bitter feud that will tear the Uso family apart for good? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the WWE Universe is in for one of the most intense and emotional storylines in recent memory. The history between Jey and Jimmy Uso is long and storied. As members of the legendary Anoa'i family, they have wrestling in their blood, and their bond as brothers has always been one of their biggest strengths in the ring. Together, they've achieved incredible success, winning multiple tag team championships and solidifying themselves as one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history.
The love angle between Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso is getting even more intense after Dirty Dom broke Mommy's heart. We have seen Jey Uso constantly flirt with Rhea Ripley, and it seems like Rhea is enjoying the attention she is getting. Earlier in the week, Rhea posted this flirtatious Instagram story of her and Jey Uso in an airplane, wondering whether he was dreaming about Rhea. It seems like we have gotten our answer, as Jey has responded confirming that he indeed dreams about Mommy. We already know that Rikishi has been vocal about the fact that he doesn't support this storyline.
Write him in that he likes Mommy. Mommy, that's the best that those, writers got. Let's write this guy into a relationship with Mommy. What y'all trying to do, break his marriage up? God forbid you guys try to tell him or tell her tongue kiss each other on Raw. That better not happen.
But seems like Jey will continue to feud with the Judgment Day and has no intention to return to the Bloodline. Do you think Jey will move to SmackDown and help Roman Reigns fight Solo Sikoa?
But as the old saying goes, blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood can boil, and that seems to be exactly what has happened here. The breaking point for Jey and Jimmy came when they found themselves on opposite sides of the Bloodline saga, a storyline that has dominated WWE programming for the past year, with Roman Reigns as the dominant Universal Champion, and their cousin, the Usos, played a pivotal role in helping him maintain his grip on the title. But as the power struggle within the Bloodline grew more intense, so too did the cracks in Jey and Jimmy's relationship. Jey, once loyal to Roman, began to question his cousin's methods and leadership, while Jimmy remained fiercely loyal to the Bloodline. The brothers' conflicting allegiances created a rift that only deepened over time. In recent weeks, tensions between Jey and Jimmy reached a boiling point. Jey, frustrated with what he saw as Jimmy's blind loyalty to Roman, made it clear that he was no longer willing to stand by and watch as the Bloodline tore their family apart. "I'm done with this," Jey had declared during a previous episode of SmackDown, walking out on his brother and cousin in a dramatic moment that left fans wondering what would come next. Jimmy, however, remained committed to the Bloodline, insisting that they needed to stay united in order to protect their family's legacy. The clash of ideologies between the two brothers was clear, and it was only a matter of time before things came to a head.
Zilla Fatu just dropped a major hint, which could mean trouble for Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. We saw the return of Jimmy Uso at Bad Blood after he helped Roman Reigns defeat Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Jimmy also embraced Roman after the match, giving him a hug and confirming that he is on the side of the OTC. This fight between the old and new Bloodline will result in an epic War Games match at Survivor Series. But there is one man who wants to join the already powerful new Bloodline, and that man is Zilla Fatu. After Bad Blood ended, Zilla posted a picture of him and Jacob confirming that he would like to team up with Jacob Fatu again. If Zilla does indeed joins Jacob Fatu, this will result in a total of 5 members in Solo's bloodline, and Roman will need backup and assemble a team for Survivor Series. We know that Jimmy Uso will be on Roman's side, but which other members should join Roman? Some fans are speculating that Jey Uso might get traded to SmackDown, and it would make sense for him to reunite with Jimmy and join Roman's team. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section and whether you believe The Rock will also join Roman Reigns at Survivor Series.
Come to a head they did in the most brutal and shocking way possible this backstage. Brawl between Jey and Jimmy Uso has sent shockwaves through the WWE universe, leaving fans and fellow wrestlers alike wondering what the future holds for these two once inseparable brothers. Could this be the beginning of a full-blown feud between Jey and Jimmy? Could we be witnessing the end of the Usos as a tag team? Or is there still hope that these brothers can find a way to reconcile, despite everything that has happened? As the WWE Universe speculates about what's next, one thing is clear: Jey and Jimmy Uso's rivalry is far from over. The emotions involved in this conflict run deep, and it's clear that both brothers feel betrayed by the other in ways that may be impossible to mend. Jey, who has always been known for his loyalty and dedication to his family, now finds himself at odds with the very person he once considered his closest ally. Jimmy, on the other hand, is struggling to reconcile his loyalty to the bloodline with his love for his brother. This is more than just a wrestling storyline. This is a deeply personal and emotional conflict that has captivated the WWE Universe. Fans are already speculating about what's next for Jey and Jimmy, with some wondering if they'll face off in a one-on-one match at an upcoming pay-per-view event. Could we be headed towards a showdown between the two brothers at WrestleMania? Or will they settle their differences in a more personal, intimate setting away from the bright lights of the WWE ring? Whatever happens. Next, one thing is for certain: the rivalry between Jey and Jimmy Uso is just getting started. The WWE Universe will be watching closely as this story unfolds, eagerly anticipating every twist and turn in this emotional and hard-hitting feud. And with the stakes as high as they are, there's no telling just how far these brothers will go to prove their point. Will they destroy each other in the process? Or will they find a way to come together and rebuild the bond that once made them one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history? Only time will tell. For now, all eyes are on Jey and Jimmy Uso as they navigate the fallout from this brutal backstage brawl.
Solo Sikoa is being controlled by someone else in the Anoa'i family, and that person is none other than The Rock. Ever since Roman Reigns lost the Universal title, Solo has taken the lead role and completely changed the bloodline. He first kicked out Jimmy Uso and then attacked Paul Heyman for not acknowledging him as the tribal chief. He then sent a warning to Roman Reigns, claiming that Roman wasn't man enough to lead the bloodline. With SummerSlam approaching very soon, we know Roman Reigns will confront Solo Sikoa about his recent actions. But Solo will eventually reveal that he was following commands from the leader of the family, and that person would be the final boss, The Rock. This will set up an epic storyline between Rock and Roman Reigns to determine who will lead the bloodline, and the story will conclude at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, where they will face each other in the main event. Personally, I don't think this match needs to involve the Universal title, as this feud is built on power and family. Zilla Fatu has finally broken his silence on Solo Sikoa and why he doesn't believe Solo is the tribal chief. For the past few months, we have seen Solo become the self-proclaimed tribal chief. He even attacked Paul Heyman and kicked him out of the bloodline. In addition, we saw Solo Sikoa go to war with his own cousin, the OTC Roman Reigns, but Zilla Fatu doesn't agree with Solo's actions and doesn't consider him the real tribal chief. In a recent interview with Muscleman Malcolm, Zilla gave his opinion on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Here is what he had to say.
Solo Sikoa is your tribal chief. That's no question. That's what's going on.
The tribal chief going the OTC, man. Roman Reigns.
Do you love Solo?
It is clear that Zilla doesn't want to align with Solo's bloodline, but he does have a history of teaming up with Jacob Fatu at Game Changer Wrestling, also known as GCW. Fans will expect Zilla Fatu to team up with Jacob Fatu again in the WWE, but the question still remains whether Zilla and Jacob will continue to stay in Solo's bloodline, or will they side with the OTC Roman Reigns.